All right, YouTube family. This Friday, hope you guys are ready. We will be releasing our Dublin and London content from the Dublin event with Sam Harris, Jordan Peterson, and Douglas Murray at 3 Arena in Dublin. There were 8,500 people that attended that event. We will be releasing that event to our $10 plus patrons this Friday, and then we will also be releasing the London event that was held at the O2 Arena. It was like Justin Bieber on one end and the Britney Spears on the other end, and this event was in the middle. So it was like, it was crazy out of place, but it was awesome to see the event on a poster with those artists. I think the events really need to be held in that esteem. So yeah, $10 plus patrons this Friday. And who's this? Matthew Hill. Watched it already. Can't hold back the tide. Information is meant to be spread for free. Okay, but we need to make this model sustainable, or else you're not going to have access to this content at all. Good luck with your payment model. Thank you. Yeah, so we've attracted some new great patrons. Our $10 plus patrons are also part of our elite Facebook page. We've been getting some great feedback from everyone. In general, everyone wants more communication from us, and we will be giving that to the public. And I'm going to be taking a much bigger role in communicating to everyone and letting everyone know what's going on. This has been missing. We're slowly starting to get more staff, and so we can do more things. Armin Navabi, if it's free, there would be less of it. True dat. Elite Facebook page. Laugh my ass off. What's so funny, King? What do you got? Lay it on us. Yeah, and anyone else, feel free to jump in. Any questions, comments, concerns? Yeah, really looking forward. I'm going to watch these right when we release them. I'm going to watch these events again. I remember the London event being the most entertaining as far as quick exchanges, hard hitting back and forth dialogue. It was super exciting, that one. In Dublin, I think I was just stressed out with all the pressure of what was going on with the events, but yeah, I need to definitely watch Dublin again. I don't really have a good beat on exactly what occurred. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. So yeah, get your popcorn. Let's see. What other updates do we have? I just, where are we here? It's not free to make all of this. Hey, Austin Johnson, it's not free to make all of this content for the events. I'm happy to be a patron. Keep up the content coming, Travis. You bet, man. We're doing our best. We're just keeping our heads above water. But it's great. I'm love all the attention the brand is getting, and it's all been great. There is some negativity around, people wanting access to the content free right away. But it's just not possible. We need to recoup some money for the creation of this content, and this has been working, so it's great. I'm happy to pay for great content as well. Awesome. Thanks, man. Spencer Harmon. You would get more Patreon support if you made it available to everyone. I promise. Actually, there's no evidence to suggest that. Content creators of this kind in the past have tried this, and it does not work. What we've actually done, because of the contributions that all of our patrons have made, we're going to be able to release this content. The two Vancouver events will be released to the public this Friday, and that's all thanks to everyone's contributions. So thank you all so much for that. I wanted to subscribe. This is Antediluvian. I wanted to subscribe on Patreon, but when I saw it's $10 per release to get early access instead of more reasonable, like $5 to $10 a month. I think that might get more subscribers. This is a debate between all of us. That's fair enough. There's two ways of thinking about it. When you're paying per content, you're seeing that you as a patron are actually paying for the actual content that comes out. And then the other, with some monthly subscriptions, you might not see something that's tangible being done for your subscription. So those are the two arguments. But I think, I think there's definitely two arguments to be had there. But for now, we're going to stick with the per release model, as it. I think it works better with the podcast that we're doing. There has to be some sense of exclusivity in the first place. I've seen it on other channels, and they just die. Have you considered to change or update that model? Like I said, we've been debating about that, and there's good healthy debate over it, and who knows, it might change. Where can I buy the recording of the London Dublin event? So you can become a $10 plus patron on our Patreon page, so patreon.com/Pangburn. And if you're happy with the content, you can stay on as a subscriber. But after you watch the events, if you're unhappy with the content and you no longer want to support further, you can end your subscription. What's the link to this Patreon? I think I put it in this post, but I just said it. Where is the money from patrons going to exactly? Editing costs? Yeah, it goes. I mean, it just goes to the costs. It helps us with the hard costs of not only producing the events, but it's more about the actual hard costs of creating the video content. Like for the O2 in London, that bill was up and around $40,000 just to create the £40,000 just for the video creation elements of that event. So the economics are insane when it comes to these live events. Like, they're so hard to, I mean, I guess I'll share with you guys, we lost a lot of money on the London event, even though it sold well and things were attended well. But we're actually thinking now that this video, the way the support we've been getting on Patreon is actually going to bring us up to the black level, which is great. Why would I pay if it's available for free? Well, I mean, some people like to support the cause as opposed to, going to a pirate's website to see the content. I mean, if everyone pirated the content, we probably wouldn't be able to keep this going. And obviously not everyone can make a contribution, but like I said, because of the patron support that we've got, we've been able to release, or we're going to be able to release the Vancouver events this Friday because of the support we got. So the more support we get, the earlier we're going to be able to release this content. You cannot stop the information from becoming available. Well, maybe I can't, but I'm not going to allow pirating and things like that to dictate my philosophy on this. I'm happy to have a debate and to hear some good points either way, some good ideas as to how we could make this happen. But I want to create a model that's actually going to work so we can keep creating content, because it's not going to be any good for anyone if we stop doing this and we don't have any events to show you guys, because no one else is producing and putting up the money to produce large events like we just had in Dublin and London, and even in Vancouver. The risk is just too high. So it takes a insane son of a bitch like me, or whoever else wants to step up to the table to produce events like this. Exactly. So charge for it while they can, so they can keep doing stuff like this. You bet. Right. And the people supporting you will do so regardless. Sure. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. Lorena Bull, another Patreon I support is $3 per release with a max of 3 releases per month. So I always know the max cost. Our max is 5 episodes per month, and I believe it's written somewhere on our Patreon page. But if it's not, we will update that and make that clear so people know what their getting into, but you're happy to support great content. Well, thanks, Lorena. We try to bring the best content that we can, and we try to bring 100% original content that hasn't been created before in the past. And if there is a debate or a discussion that has had in the past, and I think there's really a lot more legs to be had in that conversation, then I will try to produce it again. Would you be interested in doing any events with Camille Paglia? Remind me who that is, Richard. That name really rings a bell. Yeah, so yeah, I'm really excited. We're going to be announcing soon a new event in New York City for December, and the video content for that event is going to be available for our $10 plus patrons first off, and then eventually, once we get enough support behind it, we will release to the public. So all of our content eventually will be released to the public, but we need to meet certain goals behind the paywall before we release it, and we are upgrading our security to help fight us in the battles with these pirates who upload the content without permission. Steven Crowder, yes, Steven Crowder. I can't wait to do events with Steven Crowder and have him on the podcast. We've been chatting about it, and I'm really looking forward to it. To be profitable, it's essential to maintain the brand's image. It's pretty clear that the image has taken a knock due to the monetization around the JP Sam Harris debate. Actually, it really hasn't. And I know the perception it's going to look like that because we've had a lot of people going after our YouTube channel and our social media channels, doing their best to bash us for this decision and trying to, I guess, maybe bully or force us into releasing the content. But we're going to hold strong on this because, like I said, if we bend, there's not going to be any content anymore. You guys aren't going to get these kind of large scale world changing events. We just broke a record in Dublin for the largest live ticketed intellectual discussion event that's been recorded in history, 8,500 people. And so we're really trying to do some world changing things here, trying to make this a successful model so we can keep doing these things and keep showing the world that it is popular to think and it's popular to attend events like this. So help us in that. I know it's a lot to ask for you guys to put up your hard-earned money to support us in this endeavor, but I ask, even if you can give us a dollar, or I guess it ends up being $5 a month to help us in this endeavor, it really really does help. Armin Navabi, he is our director of media at Penguin Philosophy, and he's in the chat here. Just like most things, a very loud minority complains and likes to speak for the majority. True that, Spencer. That's kind of what's been happening with this, but we've been getting a lot of support on Patreon and a lot of people sticking around. So it's great. $10 per event is cheaper than buying a ticket and transportation to attend live. Yeah, I mean, we have people coming from, for the Vancouver event, I talked to a gentleman. This is a great story. Him and his wife, they followed what we're doing at Penguin Philosophy and our YouTube channel, and they heard that we were producing the event with Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris, and right away they went to their coffee can. They own this very small little food truck in Brazil, and they went to their coffee can on the top of their fridge, and they had saved enough money to be able to, and this was their vacation fund that they've been saving for 3 years, and they chose to make their vacation and spend it around this event, and they got their plane ticket, they bought their ticket full price, came up, attended the event. I got to meet them after, and I gave them a big hug, and they were thanking me, but really I couldn't thank them enough, because that kind of support and that effort to engage in what's going on here is just amazing. And I couldn't be more humbled or just to be a part of this. Like I look at myself as a slave to the people that want to see this happen, and we're just the event organizers, and really all the people who put any kind of money through Patreon or through buying a ticket to the event or through other modes of donation or even help promoting our events. They're the ones that are making this happen, and it's impossible without them. Are you going to release a Blu-ray box set of all the Harris Peterson debates? I wish we could afford to shoot like in the quality required to do this, but like at the O2, the difference of shooting in like HD, or I think we shot in HD, but the next level up was like a difference of 200,000 pounds. Like the just the finances, we couldn't make it happen. And I do want to get to a point one day where we can shoot in the best quality possible. So like, you know, if you're watching a Ricky Gervais special on Netflix, it'll be like that quality, but we're working towards it. We're doing our best. Oh, are you going to raise? Let's see what else we got here. It wasn't 85,000 people, it was 8,500. So to get to that 8,500 mark, we started with a base price, and eventually we did reduce the price. But even starting with our base price, the cheapest ticket available was within the affordable range for even a university student of what they would spend on a weekend out partying. And that's actually honestly how we base the ticket scaling, at least the bottom level of it, because we want university and college students to be coming to these events and getting access. Why are your events so expensive? Sam Harris did live shows and released the events for free and gets a lot of support from his optional subscription services. So we don't have access to the like podcast subscribership that Sam has. And those finances alone are the reason why he's able to release the content for free. We just don't have access to an extra stream of revenue like that, or authoring, you know, some of the greatest books I think that have been written in his realm. We just don't have access to that additional revenue. So most people are short-sighted and just believe what everyone else thinks, but you have to acknowledge that and cater to that if you want to grow as a brand. No, I don't. I don't think that at all. I think great brands. Penguin philosophy is let art and science inspire, and I want to inspire the world with art and science and eradicate anti-science and unreasonable behavior in any way that I can. And those are my goals, and I have to stick to that philosophy. And something that could get in the way of that is going bankrupt. So I have to figure out ways of additionally bringing in revenue so that we can keep our little office going and our 4 staff members going, and keep creating content for you guys and keep organizing these events. I attended Jordan Peterson's discussion on his book in Nashville, Tennessee. I paid $53 a ticket. Yeah. So you can get, for all of our events, you'll be able to get a ticket at that price. Let's see. Oh, my computer's jumping around. Your business model is self-destructive. You need to sort it out. Sponsorship. Well, I suggest listening to Sam Harris's podcast about sponsorship. I really agree with Sam on this. It ties you up in ways it can philosophically. For instance, I think Sam uses the example that he loves the New Yorker, and the New Yorker has come to him many times wanting to support the podcast and become a sponsor. But if the New Yorker has printed some shit articles in the past, and Sam wants to be able to call those out without even having to think twice about the ramifications of his sponsorship. And another thing about sponsorship is once you receive sponsorship, you start relying on the sponsorship as you start building your model forward. And if that sponsorship ever leaves, or if you want to do an event based on a subject matter, let's say race versus IQ, and should we be paying attention to this and be building governmental policies around the generalized IQs of certain races. Like, so many sponsors are going to be like, we can't be fucking attached to this. This is insane. But I don't want to be like, I want to be able to produce events that have conversations about anything. So I can't really, Sean, I can't really bring on any sponsors yet. At least any that have, we've had sponsors approach us that really want to be involved, but they have stipulations that when they do sponsor something that you can't fall out of. Sean Carroll is awesome. Can't wait to work with Sean Carroll. We've been in chats. The point is, people love to support creators on Patreon. Believe it or not, people do love to support. But if you're keeping the biggest debates behind a paywall, you won't get traffic on it. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, once we reach a certain threshold for the money that we're able to bring in from Patreon, then that content does get released to the rest of the world, and we hope that will help build our patronship. What you need to do is attract people with big events for free to get as many eyes as possible, then offer live streams much as this to supporters. Actually, so that model, Matthew Hill, it's been tried, and even we tried the live stream model. We had a sold out event with Sam Harris. People just dying to get tickets for the event. It sold out so fast, and this was in Toronto about a year ago, and then people were like, live stream, we want live stream, give us live stream. So finally, me and Sam had a conversation, and we just said, okay, let's try it. So Sam sent out a notice, and we promoted the live stream, and literally out of the seemingly thousands of people that wanted the live stream, we had like maybe 62 people actually engage in the live stream, and I ended up losing thousands of dollars setting up the live stream and getting all the proper things in place to do the live stream properly. So the live stream model doesn't quite work yet for this. I want to try it more. I hope one day we can get to like the boxing model of a live stream, where we can do these maybe more of a pay-per-view model. I have this idea of the Pangburn TV app, which is kind of in development right now. So hopefully that's the future, that we can do these live events and possibly add a pay-per-view element that doesn't conflict, that's area specific, so that people who could easily travel to the event wouldn't be able to access it within their IP or their zip code. What else do we got here? For those of you who are just tuning in, we will be releasing to our $10 plus patrons the Dublin and London events this Friday. If you go to patreon.com/Pangburn, if you become a $10 plus patron, you will get access to this video content first. And and then the more patrons we get, the faster we can get the content out to the general public. So we appreciate anyone's support. It helps us a lot. Let's see. Robert Sapolsky, yes. Paul Bloom, yes. Let's go. You need some different books. Yes. So the studio is new. I just put these up because I think eventually the plan is to put a movie screen here, or a video screen, so that things can be put up there, whatever, advertisements or whatever. And so, yeah, we had some books left over from our events, so I just put up what we had. Why was the Weinstein talk in Boston canceled? Good question. Well, whenever we cancel an event, it's typically due to lack of interest, or at least lack of interest at a price level that can support the speaking fees. So basically the speaking fees that are required for the events, that basically dictates what we can do price-wise with the events. And we just, there wasn't enough interest for that event, so unfortunately we had to cancel. Hi, Travis and Armin. Is Armin still around? Yeah, I think he's still kicking. Let's see what else. Dillahunty and Peterson round 2. Anyone? That discussion was awesome. Matt was amazing in my opinion. Okay, yeah, that was one of my favorite discussions that I've seen. I'm being biased because we produced it, but I watch a lot of content discussions. But that one was, I just loved it from all aspects. I think Jordan was strong. I think Matt was strong. I think Jordan has a very indefensible position, I think, in his belief, in the way he forms his God belief or God existence argument. So, but I think, Jordan stood up to the hard, what was being offered by Matt, who's, I actually consider Matt to be one of the world's greatest skeptics. And some might think I'm overestimating Matt there, but after spending the amount of time that I have with Matt and just watching what he produces on the fly all the time, he's just fucking amazing. And Jordan is amazing too. I mean, Jordan, he's just got such a great mind. Even though I disagree with him on some things, I disagree with Matt on some things. But just because I disagree with him doesn't mean I love Jordan as a person. He's one of the greatest people that I've hung out with. It's nice to have a fellow Canadian out on tour when we're out on the road together. And man, can that guy eat steak? I tell you. Looks like there's lots of good, healthy debate going on here. Yes, Dillahunty and Peterson round 2, definitely. Matt's game. I'm sure Jordan will be game. Jordan's just so freaking busy right now. We got to find some time in his schedule, but I'm sure it's going to happen for sure. Even if it's not me that produces it. And that's the thing, like, even if it's not me that produces these events, I want more people to start organizing and producing these events. I want more investors to get out there and invest their money in intellectual discourse. It's the best investment. It shows the world, the leaders of the world, that thinking matters and that critical thinking in your platform, in your political platform, matters. The bigger these events get, the more popular it becomes to think. It's going to have this effect on government where we're going to start thinking more and putting more into science, putting more into to reasonable platforms. So please encourage anyone, any investors, to invest in intellectual discourse. It's a pity I never heard about this event. I'd have gone to see it. Where were you, Ramus? That's interesting to know that you didn't hear about the event. I feel like even the crows knew. Yeah. Human evolution. Oh, we're getting into some debate here. Philosophical stuff. It's good to stay away from corporate sponsors that always want to take control. Yeah. Even though the money sometimes is like, holy, this could really help. But what would be the motivation to continue my subscription to this channel? Should I just wait 6 months and then come back when these events are finally put on the channel? Yeah, I mean, you're MJ Demore. You're welcome. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I will say that the more support we get financially through our Patreon, the more content we're going to be able to bring to you guys, and quicker. And when you become a $10 plus patron, you actually get invited to our elite Facebook group, which I try to log on to every day, and we have discussions on there. And it very much, I listen to the heartbeat of those people, and so you get some interesting perks if you become a patron. So I would suggest sticking with us. Take a look at all the events we've produced. All of them eventually become free access to the rest of the world on our Patreon or on our YouTube channel, and and hopefully eventually on our app. So just consider supporting us. Woo! How do we stop circumcision? Oh, that's a good question, man. It's one of the morally reprehensible things that we still do to children, or do to people against their will in the West. And I really suggest everyone paying attention to a doctor, Brian Earp. I've had him on the podcast, so listen to my podcast with him if you guys feel like it. But look at all of his content. Yeah, and one thing, after you study this subject, you realize that there is no scientific evidence or medically necessary reason for us to be circumcising infants. It's just disgusting and horrible. And that's not to say, I always say that, it's not to say if you've been circumcised that that makes you less of a person or anything like that, or that you can't, forgive your doctor or your parents for doing this, because obviously almost 99.999% of the cases, no one was doing this to hurt you. They thought that they were doing the right thing. But just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you're knowledgeable in all areas of medicine. And unfortunately, this happens all the time. And there were some horrible papers produced that people thought were legitimate that talk about, like, oh, it's easier to the penis is easier to clean, and like all this nonsense. And only 30% of the males on this planet are cut. So let's get that down to 0 if we can. I won't. Again, may I ask you the reason for the delay on reselling to Japan? I won't address that again, Joe, just because I addressed it earlier in the video. You can check out the video again. What events other than Peterson and Dillahunty do you like most? Well, I've loved working with Dawkins. Richard is such a hero of mine, and it's just such a pleasure every time I get to come together with Richard. Anything with Dawkins. It was fun hanging out with the intellectual warm blankets types like Eric, Brett, and I call it the intellectual warm blanket. I don't call it the intellectual dark web. One of the guys, when I mentioned my description, intellectual warm blanket, someone said, I'm not going to say who, said, well, that's not going to get us laid. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, someone came up with or someone uses these terms for maybe a specific reason. But yeah, no, I liked hanging out with Eric, Brett, Weinstein. Those guys are amazing. And Majid Nawaz was great. Douglas Murray, I love hanging out with Douglas. He's so awesome to have a drink with and shoot the shit with. He's a great guy. And Josh, of course, and yeah, everyone at the conference in Sydney were just amazing. Yeah, and who else? James Randi. Oh man, James Randi's getting sold, but I want to do more and more events with him. So I'm gonna try and get him up to the Day of Discovery conference in Vancouver next March. So yeah, Day of Discovery conference is going to be like basically a science geek out. That event, that conference, it's going to be kind of more science centric, that one, as opposed to the one in New York City, which is more going for ideas and different I guess modes in the zeitgeist that have kind of emerged, like Me Too and things like that. Well, I'm wishing this channel the best. I hope there's a lot more events and that you guys figure out the best support model, that it works out as it should. All the best. Cheers. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate that. Joe Campion. Oh, they're yeah, if you just check out the start of the video, and yeah, if you can, everyone invite your friends to support intellectual discourse. I think we're the conduit to bringing it to the world. So anything you can do. Yeah, Dan Dennett. Okay, I contact Dan Dennett like once a week, and he's just, he's pretty comfy in his current gig. He doesn't like to do a lot of speaking gigs, especially the larger scale ones, but I'm twisting his arm constantly. So thanks for the content. Maybe I'll hear about the next live event before it happens. Yeah, that would be great. We'll do better on marketing. 0% non-medically necessary circumcision sounds good. Fuck yeah. Couldn't agree more, Rembrandt. Have you ever considered a conversation between Edward Fesser and Matt Dillahunty? Not aware who Edward Fesser is, actually. I'll have to look that up. Okay. You should CGI Hitchens like they did with Tupac. Fuck yes. That is a great idea. Human evolution. That is great. When we have, I know we have no copy of Christopher Hitchens' consciousness, but can you imagine if we were able to upload a version of his consciousness based on all of the video content that exists and then put it into some hologram or something? I think that would be awesome. I miss Hitch so bad. And Hitch died before I started producing events. And one of my biggest regrets would be not starting Paymer Philosophy earlier, so I could work with Hitch. Man, I miss everything from that man. Yeah. Me and Joe's people have been talking. Joe Rogan, big time. Can't wait. Lure Dennett with pizza. Yep. That's good. Does he love pizza? I don't know. Payment Philosophy, how about adding some kind of support band before the main talk? Yes, I've done this and I love it. And you made some suggestions, I think, for the main talk, like having a warm up with Alex from Cosmic Sky. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, we've had actual music bands before, but a warm up act like Alex from Cosmic Skeptic. Yes, we just talked on the podcast. We're having a hard time finding the audio for the podcast that we did, which really sucks because we had a great one. But we'll try to find that. But yeah, having like a warm up act, comedians, things like that. Yes, definitely. I like the idea. Yes, Jerry Coyne for sure. I had dinner with Jerry in I think it was Chicago. We had dinner a few months back. Maybe I guess it's probably like 6 months back now. And yes, I want to get Jerry out for sure. Can't wait. Yes, it would get so many views if we brought Hitch back. Just when all the fucking people who preach and crazy shit about killing homosexuals and circumcising children or genitally mutilating children thought that they could get away, Hitch is back. That'd be awesome. Yes, I'll catch it on Shapiro's show. So I've been in talks with Shapiro's people a lot about some future events, and obviously Matt Dillahunty and Shapiro needs to happen. We got Matt Dillahunty and D'Souza happening in New York City this December. Is it just no? It's this November, and we got to get Shapiro and Dillahunty. I think that will be fucking amazing. And it's important for me for these discussions, just like Peterson and Matt Dillahunty, we do not need a moderator for these discussions. We can have intellectual discourse without a referee sitting there. However, for Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris, we did not know how those events were going to go, and that was based on the evidence of how things went in the podcast 1 and 2 between them. So we thought it was best to bring in Brett, and honestly, I think Brett was the best person for that gig, and he did a fantastic job. If you guys haven't seen the content yet, you can catch it on our Patreon, or like I said earlier, we are going to release Vancouver 1 and 2 of those events this Friday to the whole world. What else we got? Yeah, Lorena, get back to work. Thanks for coming on. Are you going to have the Peterson Harris talks translated with subtitles to other languages? Yes, we are. You can do Hebrew. Egno, get in touch with us. Send us an email, admin@penguinphilosophy.com. The first video is almost finished in Arabic, and we are focusing on Arabic first because I think people who speak Arabic in general need our help. That's my opinion on looking at this from a pure language perspective. To qualify for the higher level Patreon rewards, does it have to be per creation or can it be a month? I might be wrong about this, but I think you can set it up. You can come in at a certain level, but then you can put a cap on how much can be charged per month. So check that out. I could be wrong about that, but if not, then for now it is just based on the amount of content that we release. We release 4 to 5 paid content episodes per month. So if you're budgeting, just base it on that. Matt is not that smart and kind of annoying. Not that smart? Come on. I think you really need to watch some Matt Dillahunty videos with there's something blinding you when you're watching him if you don't think he's that smart and kind of annoying. Sure, Matt can be annoying. We can all be annoying. Probably a lot of you think I'm annoying, but I don't think annoying necessarily is that bad of a trait. So when are the Dublin event? You must have just came. Earlier in the video, I explained about the Dublin and London release. Oh, and might as well update everyone. $10 plus patrons on our Patreon will have access to the Dublin and London events. Oh, what's going on? This Friday. So if you would like access to those events as soon as possible, become a patron and give us a chance. What in the world would Shapiro and Matt even talk about? What? There's no end to things that they could talk about. God, for instance. Shapiro's a believer in a literal God. That's Matt's specialty, crushing unsubstantiated beliefs. So they would go at that for sure. And you don't have to be a philosopher to have April 68. You do not have to be a philosopher to engage in intellectual discourse. You don't have to be anyone. You can be you, me, John, NY. It doesn't matter. You handled this whole fiasco. What fiasco? Like shit. Offense intended. Fiasco. I wonder what he's talking about. He's probably talking about the release of the content, but maybe you should watch the video earlier on. He's quite savvy at arguing for conservative politics, though. Have you seen his debates or talks? He's way too much of a conflict pundit. Okay. I'm going to stop following that. Yeah. Yeah, Matt is very smart. Anyone who says that Matt Dillahunty is not smart, you are being triggered into that position, or you are completely blind and you're not listening. So take your headphones off or take the things out of your ears, clean your ears, put it back on, listen to what Matt has to say. He's definitely smart. Okay. You could agree with certain ideas he had, but go after people's ideas. Don't make these blanket terms. So-and-so isn't smart. Like, come on. Yeah. So yeah, apparently you can cap at 1 creation per month. Matt is a great speaker. Your ostrich leather ankle boots at the Vancouver event were annoying. Why? Come on, April. I like those boots. I got them in Spain. Come on. I wanted to wear them. They made me feel good. Matt is annoyingly smart. That's better. Bart Ehrman would be great. Yes, definitely. I'm sure that's a $200 shirt. This shirt? No, I got this on sale for £35 when I was just in London. I actually talked to Matt Dillahunty right before he debated Lacona, and he struck me as an extremely intelligent individual. Ehrman would be fun to hear in a debate. Lol, they were awful. Come on. Why is April busting my balls? Like, what did I ever do to her? Are you guys based out of April? I have like 3 or 4 pairs. What? The jacket? Are you the fashion police? Okay. Are you guys based out of Vancouver, Travis? Yes, we are. We have a secret office here. super secret. No, I actually get a lot of death threats, unfortunately, for producing the kind of content that I do. And so does Armin and a couple other people that work for us. Explain how you got involved in organizing Harris Peterson, please. I've followed these podcasts for years. Out of nowhere comes Penguin Philosophy into the thick of it. I'm interested in your story. Well, the story was that the story. Sorry, I'm just reading some absurd shit here. The basics of this is I was producing live events. Well, first of all, the myth is that I am a robot or an AI created by Sam Harris and the rest of the intellectual dark web. And I'm actually just being operated by controls. This was a myth going around on Reddit, I think. And but yeah, no, I had produced quite a few events with Sam, and I saw that Jordan was becoming really hot in the media. He's getting popular, and I knew, and I actually was a huge fan of Jordan Peterson and his. I am a huge fan of Jordan Peterson and his self-authoring and everything he's done from a clinical psychology perspective. And yeah, I'm super. Sorry, I'm getting bugged by a whole bunch of different things here. And I've always been a big fan of both of them. So we booked Jordan for the first event with Sam in Vancouver, and then Jordan's popularity really blew up through the Kathy Newman thing, and just the world was exposed to, you know, who Jordan Peterson is, and he rightfully became quite famous. And and then he got new agents and management and a full team. So the negotiation between the first Vancouver event and the second one was a hell of a lot different financially. So, and you know, bureaucratically too, you had a lot more fingers in the pie, I guess. So yeah, and you know, getting connected with them, and also Jordan was also already booked for the Matt Dillahunty event as well at that time. So getting connected with them, well, we've built a reputation of being able to put on large scale events successfully and selling them out and making sure everyone's happy and doing a good job. And also the philosophy. I mean, all the speakers that work with us, they believe in inspiring the world with art and science. And that's our philosophy. That's the philosophy I came up with. And I think in order to be a fruitful human being, you need to start at the base foundation with being inspired with art and science. And then I think you build up from there with all the people you find through your life and the different things you acquire and end up loving. So yeah, I was able to swing deals with them because of the reputation I had built up. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off there. For those of you who just tuned in, I'm going to let this whole video get posted here, and you can see what we chatted about. But this Friday, Dublin and London events are coming out on our Patreon. Patreon.com/Pangburn. $10 plus patrons will have access. And the more of you that can support this, the quicker we'll be able to get it out to the rest of the world. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and let art and science inspire.